A pleasant good evening and welcome to SAT TV's Channel 9 Evening News. I am Nisha Charles.
And I am Deslin Joseph.
And we are your presenters for the evening. Thank you for joining us. Among the major developments, police are investigating the death of an elderly man over the weekend.
Suspect arrested in deaths of a couple in St. Martin.
Police Chief Wang Lujin jailed for 15 years.
And in sports, the West Indies Cricket Board has voted to retain their current selection panel for another 3 years.
Details of these and other stories after the break.
Free at last! Free at last! Free at last! Yes, Dominica, we are here at last. Come in today and sign up for your SAT internet. No fixed line charges, no installation charge, no modem charge, and no contract required. Just come in and sign up for the most economical internet broadband service. Choose one of 5 packages starting at $28.75. Together with your internet package, you will receive a telephone where you will be able to call SAT to SAT for free. No rental charges. Yes, SAT to SAT for free. What are you waiting for? Come in today. Sign up now for your high-speed broadband internet only with SAT. For more information, call 448-5095 or 448-5096. Remember, SAT Telecoms is the people's choice.
Support local, support SAT Telecommunications Limited, the people's choice. Join hands with us. Come and sign up for your digital TV connection today. We got the sharpest, cleanest, brightest digital TV connection. No antiquated analog service, only pure digital and many new packages coming soon. With latest in sports, movies, children programming and much more. So if you have your flat screen TV and you want to see quality TV, join now. Sign up today for your digital television. Support local, support SAT Telecommunications Limited, the people's choice.
Sunday 23rd September 2012 was recognized as National Day of Prayer. St. Anne's and St. Paul's Parish Priest Father Franklin Coffey says this is a celebration of our 34th year of independence.
Every year, as part of independence, we have a National Day of Prayer. Now, in the past, it fell on the last Sunday in October, more or less. But as you know, the big thing in October is the Creole Festival. And getting people to come to church on the last day of the Creole Festival has always been difficult. So recently, a couple of years now, it has been moved to this time, the last Sunday in September.
Father Coffey went on to say that the National Day of Prayer is a form of gratitude and appreciation for us as people. Father Coffey resolved the prayer for this week.
And it says, Almighty God and Father, our nation dedicates this day to you in thanksgiving, prayer, and reflection on the advances we have made under the mantle of your protection and through your divine providence. 34 years ago, we inspired our political leadership to conclude arrangements for leading our country into political independence. We burn with the expectation that this would lead our people to further progress and development.
He believes development is more than just roads and buildings and says this day is mostly focused on the building of the people.
Our parish, Massac, Maho, as far as Layo, we were affected a year ago by that tropical storm, Ophelia. And a year later, I don't know how much development we have had, since that storm. But we are a resilient people, faithful people who trust in God, and I really, really believe that, as a nation, the prayers of the people are really carrying us. In this national prayer, we talk about that global financial situation that the world is facing at this time. And again, when I look at all the development that's taking place, I always ask, where is the money coming from?
Father Coffey mentioned that he would like to see more volunteerism and involvement of our young people.
The fact that we had our Camp Rescue and we had to close the doors of Camp Rescue because our mentors were not coming forth, people not willing to support our young people. And I think that is one of our difficulties. And I think it's that selfishness, have prevailed and, willing to do things for the benefit of the nation. I'm looking forward to our National Day of Service, and I really pray that many more people will get.
The CTCS Network Finance Management Techniques Workshop held its closing ceremony on Friday, September 21st. The workshop was initiated by the Caribbean Development Bank to promote broad-based economic growth by providing support to private sector development aimed at enhancing the viability of small, micro, and medium-sized enterprises. At the closing ceremony, Mr. Brandon Defoe, coordinating consultant, challenged the participants to employ what they have learned into their business establishments and all the acute thinking that goes into their businesses.
So that we found this value to be one that we cannot put a price to right now, because just this last day of training, I could see on the faces of the participants that saying, yes, I got it, it all makes sense. And I hope that you keep that idea in your head that it all makes sense.
One of the participants, Mrs. Elia Schillenford, was happy to learn about setting up the company and the Companies Act. She said having an owner who is headstrong and does not want to abide by the rules can be detrimental to the company.
You have a company and you're not abiding by the rules, you can really get into trouble. So of course, for me being here and telling him, well, this is what we learned, this is the act, and you must abide by it, I think this was really very helpful for me. Because if you have a very headstrong person owner, it makes it very difficult when he does not want to submit to rules and regulations. Amen? So that was, I say, very, very important for me here. And every day I come home, he wants me to tell him, how was the day? And yesterday I had to say, what do you mean? And he says, but I sent you, you have to report to me.
Topic of financial records was a very good refresher for her, even if she has been doing it for over 20 years.
Even the income statement, looking at the income and the balance sheet, and of course, I even forgot that, the same figure that appeared in the income statement had to be also the retained earnings. So, that was very interesting for me.
They also looked at the personal aspects of how they deal with their employees. Mrs. Schillenford says that employees should know about the business, because if they do not, they could do things that could be detrimental to the company.
Wearing different hats as a trade union leader, of course, I have the knowledge of being, I represent workers, and at the same time, because we're involved in labor relations laws, I can also assist employers. So if you would say you want to dismiss somebody, sometimes the best person to ask the question is the one representing the employees. So I think that was very interesting.
Government has been cognizant of the importance of the small business sector as a vibrant contributor to the economic and social transformation of Dominica, and as a result endorsed the workshop. The participants received certificates for their involvement in the course.
And in more local news, stakeholders from various sectors island-wide will all converge at the Fort Young Hotel as Dominica prepares for an Access Conference starting from September 25th to 27th, 2012. This conference is the first of its kind in the Eastern Caribbean and will bring together key stakeholders and engage the support of Caribbean careers to develop a holistic approach to improving intra-regional and international access to Dominica whilst enhancing the viability of the careers. Director of Tourism and Chief Executive Officer of Discover Dominica Authority, Mr. Colin Piper says, over the last year, work has been ongoing on the development of an access strategy for Dominica, which is much needed.
At this point in time, the findings of the strategy essentially said that Dominica has about 5 international airports in such close proximity, namely airports like San Juan, St. Martin, Antigua, Barbados, St. Lucia, and then not to mention the 2 French islands, Guadeloupe and Martinique, that we really need to figure out a way to utilize them more in terms of bringing visitors to Dominica. And as such, one of the things that we intended to do coming out of that access strategy was to host an access conference where we could bring a number of regional players.
Mr. Piper added some of the regional players includes airport managers and aircraft operators, where they will work together towards using a strategy of smaller airlines to increase frequency rather than capacity. This will be then reduce the portal-to-portal time, which is the time when one wakes up in the origin city to when one goes to sleep in Dominica.
And we've invited some 14 airlines to Dominica, and we also have regional entities like Caribbean Tourism Organization and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States that are interested in coming down for observer status. And the main purpose of this conference again will be to bring the stakeholders together and have them dialogue about what Dominica's challenges are and to see how we can address that. One will be just the numbers, pure and simple. Is Dominica attracting enough visitors to make it profitable for airlines to service Dominica? We believe the answer is yes. And many of the airlines we are inviting are profitable in other destinations. And so we believe that can be the case in Dominica.
The tourism director says they will also be looking at ways to market Dominica along with other islands such as Antigua and Barbados, in addition to developing ways of making Dominica attractive for airlines to make more flights.
And one of the things that we really have to look at is something called a distribution system. Basically, people would know it by going on Travelocity or Kayak and saying that you want to come to Dominica from Miami, MIA to DOM, and you see the fact that you can come and you see Liat and you see American Eagle. Well, we would like for Air Sunshine, BVI Airways, Cape Air, all these other airlines to be a part of that and to show that they are in fact servicing Dominica. So that is going to be part of the discussion that we're going to have. We're going to have some distribution solution providers there to pitch their product and try to convince some of the smaller airlines that it makes sense for them to implement that distribution system, all with the view towards servicing Dominica.
Mr. Piper pointed out that, if successful, this will be a major pillar in the growth of the tourism industry of Dominica, which needs to be tackled with a head and hands-on approach. This can only be done with discussions with persons involved in the tourism business, which can let them know what will and what will not work, so they can go back to the drawing board to develop a comprehensive plan to be used to increase access to Dominica.
The long-term goal would be continued service by a few more airlines into Dominica. It would also be that those available seats would be available on the internet, so that both consumers and tour operators would be able to find it. If you're able to find it, then it means there's more brand awareness for Dominica, and generally there would be a greater awareness of Dominica and hopefully more visitation into the island. With visitation comes additional spend, so we would have greater economic activity for the island as well. That is why we're in the tourism business. While we say we want a lot more visitors to come to Dominica, what we really mean is we want them to come to Dominica and spend money, because it's the economic activity that sustains us. So the overall and long-term goal of this is increased capacity to Dominica, which will manifest itself in increased visitors, which will manifest itself in increased expenditure on island, and so greater economic contribution.
The conference will focus on areas of marketing and infrastructural development, access to Dominica, and the critical role of the third-tier airlines and the importance of the financial institutions in the whole process. It is hoped that the Access Conference will address the limitations faced by Dominica in its drive to increase year-round visitors' arrivals to the island.
The Daly's police is conducting investigations into the death of 69-year-old Jonathan Etienne of Daly's. It was reported that on Sunday, 23rd of September, at 11 a.m., Jonathan was washed by a wave at Botica Bay, where he was having a sea bath. He sustained multiple injuries and was transported to the Botica village by the villagers and was pronounced dead by the district medical practitioner. The body was then transported to the Princess Margaret Hospital mortuary pending post-mortem examinations. A coroner's inquest will be convened to be followed by the examination. Foul play is not suspected at this time. After a night of fierce competitions, 7 contestants have been chosen from a field of 12 as the 2013 Carnival Queen pageant completed their elimination pre-show at the Arak House of Culture on Saturday, September 22nd. Many Dominicans were excited to witness what the young ladies had in store, as the Arak House of Culture was filled to the brim for the night's event. 12 contestants appeared in 1.5-minute segments of talent, swimwear, evening wear, and question and answer. The first round, which was the talent round, the young ladies came with their game faces on as they put their best foot forward. Many did musical performances for that segment, which started with Miss Dana Matthew. Jean Royer of Goodwill switched up the musical performances as she came with the talent of the absence of real men loving women in today's society. Other talents were from Nerissa Elaine Williams of Tebow, who did a monologue about women, phenomenal women. Charlene John Baptist of Calabishi sat like a princess in a beautiful garden and sang a song from one of Disney's musicals, The Colors of the Moon, and Kelsha Breezy of St. Joseph, whose piece was based on an experience at a supermarket 2 days before, did a mini skit on Dominica's customer service and how undesirable it really is, which was a crowd favorite.
Walking in the store, young man sweeping away. Not once he stopped to say, "I'm sorry, ma'am, go ahead. That's a muerte fashion." But I say, at least one employee can't be having a bad day. So I let that slide. Looking for what I need. Not one person coming up to see. Is there anything you need today? Is there anything in particular you're looking for today? And to add insult to injury, a security eye stick on me like an X-ray. I even had to stop to say, "Sir, are you a radiologist?" If I were on way, going to the cashier, expecting a warm smile or a friendly hello. Hey, all I heard was $21.95, please.
Fatima Noel of Saint-Servais came attired in Dominica's national dress, the Warp Duet. Being musically inclined, she sang Michael Henderson's My Pride to the satisfaction of the crowd. Melinda Siobhan Ulysses of Stock Farm, better known as Mel C, who is a local female artist, put her singing talent aside and showed a different side, demonstrating just how talented she is by playing a classical piece on the piano to the amazement of the large crowd at the show. The final contestant, Wendy Lucy Romaine of Cottage, came dressed in yellow and black to fight Black Sigatoka, a disease which was recently discovered in Dominica and destroys banana and plantain fruit. Before speaking on the disease, she questioned how Dominicans could be a poor country when 3/4 of the population possess a BlackBerry handset.
But even those Nicolians still trying to figure out how to answer a call from the yellow Sigatoka. Strange, but true. We didn't see a red, nor blue, nor green Sigatoka. It's black and yellow, so you know it's more complication. Because the black and yellow Sigatoka companies, boy, papi and watch we call her, and Zeba.
In the end, the final 7 finalists, who will now move on to the Miss Dominica pageant, set for Friday, February 8, 2013, are Kelsha Breezy from St. Joseph, Leslasha Amos Sillenford of Castle Comfort, Jean Royer from Goodwill, Nikisha Philbert of Loda, Melinda Ulysses of Stock Farm, Fatima Noel of Saint-Servais, and last but not least Dana Matthew of Canefield. Many of all who attended the show said they certainly got their money's worth of action and will be looking forward to the Miss Dominica pageant in 2013.
Congratulations to the ladies. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, Lime, DFC staff, Queen Show.
And in more local news, to officially open the 2012-2013 athletic season on Sunday 23rd, under 16 athletes gathered at the Bayfront and prepared for a race from Citronet to the Bayfront. President of DAA, Mr. Cedric Harris, says the first race began with a 2-kilometer run for the under-16s, followed by a 5-kilometer race for the adults.
Starts initially with a 2-kilometer run for kids under the ages of under 9, under 13, under 9, under 11, under 13, under 15, and that race will be starting just a little above SeaWorld Guest House, and the athletes are going to run into the Bayfront, well, through Newtown up to the General Post Office. The second segment of that race will be for the older persons, for under 17 years old, under 20, under 30 and above. And that event will be starting from the cemetery in Point Mitchell and coming down.
Athletes from primary schools such as Marigot, St. Joseph, Grand Bay, St. Luke and Newtown participated in this event. Mr. Harris says he is very pleased with the turnout since over 30 athletes were present, and this shows that the children are interested in their health and keeping fit.
This is going to help in a positive way to the development of the sport of athletics and the fitness in general. As we know, a number of persons have been saying in the healthcare providers concerning the chronic non-communicable diseases, and it's very rampant going on in these days, especially for young persons. So exercise is for all, and we as the Athletic Association, we're just pushing our way forward in taking, although it's a competition, but also a form of exercise for those persons who will not be in a competitive mood as we expected.
When asked about the preparations for this event, this is what Mr. Harris had to say.
We send invitations to the schools and the clubs, and that's the way we actually get it promoted. Well, again, through DBS radio, sports announcements, and likewise. But that's the way out. I must make a call for more support to sports, especially athletics in Dominica, because we have been seeing, as we know, the Olympic year was this year, and we saw what happened. We only had 2 athletes from Dominica, but this is where it starts.
At the end of the series, the National Grand Prize ceremony will be held on Saturday, December 8th, where the top athletes will be awarded. In addition, he mentioned that a 1-mile race will be held on Sunday, 21st October. Concord resident Keon Burton won the 2-kilometer race and said he received a lot of support from his mother.
I have worked very hard to win this race, and as you can see, I have won. I'm very glad. For those who competed, I wish all you well good luck next year, and I just want to say thank you.
How did you prepare for this race?
I trained by running and doing hard work.
Taj Tavernier is the recipient of the first ever Billy Doctorow Sports Scholarship as part of Big Edge Finance Express's first anniversary. Taj, who is from Sofia, will be attending the SMA and has proved to be an excellent addition to the Big Edge family. Managing Director of Big Edge, Mrs. Antonia Doctorow, says sports is very dear to the company's heart, and to mark Billy Doctorow's distinguished and successful career as an international and elite umpire, they have named the scholarship the Billy Doctorow Sports Scholarship.
The Billy Doctorow Sports Scholarship is valued at twice that of a government scholarship. It covers $500 for the cost of textbooks and stationery, and an additional $500, which is an allowance to assist the students with continued training in their chosen sport. There will be an annual evaluation of the students' academic and sporting performance to ensure student maintains acceptable standards.
Sports coordinator Mr. Trevor Shillingford says this is a significant milestone to dismiss the notion that students cannot perform well in both academics and sports.
We at the sports division, we continue to work towards the creation of a sports culture at our primary schools. And we have been seeing a lot of successful results in that regard, where we continue to see increased participation at our primary schools. And we thought if we could provide the students at the primary school with something that is tangible, that would make our work a lot easier. And I'm very happy that Big Edge Financial, after only 1 year in operation, could see it fit to take on their social responsibility so seriously and look towards enhancing the lives of our nation's children.
Taj received 2 grade A's, a grade B and C at the National Assessment Exams. He represented his school in football, represented his district and school in the primary school cricket championships, and represented Dominica at the under-15 level in cricket. Honorable Justina Charles, Minister for Culture, Youth and Sports, says Taj clearly portrays that one can succeed in both academics and sporting activities.
We have often heard the saying, a sound mind exists in a healthy body. Through this scholarship, Big Edge Financial Express is encouraging our students to develop these sound minds through sports participation, as this scholarship will serve as an impetus to encourage our students to work diligently at both their sports and academic.
Taj is excited for the scholarship and promises to work hard to make his family and Big Edge extremely proud. His mother has these words to say.
He plays everything, but is also doing well at school. My husband and I will try our best to give him all the support that he needs, and we will make sure that he does not disappoint you in any way. Again, we would like to thank you in a special way, and will keep on praying for your business so that you can help other children.
Mrs. Doctor presented Taj with his scholarship. Also at the ceremony, a financial contribution of $1,000 was made to the Child Heart Fund. Members of the Drug Squad and the Custom K9 unit conducted an operation in Tatan on Wednesday, 19 September at 1 p.m., which led to the seizure of the following: 20 live rounds on 7.65 ammunition, 4 live rounds of .38 ammunition, and 10 live rounds of 9mm ammunition and a 1mm magazine. 3 individuals, Akim Saint-Jean and Akima Saint-Jean of Tatan and Damian Joseph Thomas of Portsmouth, have been arrested and charged for possession of these ammunition and possession of the magazine. They appeared before the Roseau Magistrate Court on Friday, 21st September, where they all pleaded not guilty. Akima Saint-Jean was granted bail, while Akmel and Damian were remanded in custody. The matter is set for the 13th of December 2012. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.